Ever wish you could just hit rewind on life?
Mm.
I know I have. Just last week, I blurted out something I instantly regretted, and all I could think was, if I had those 5 minutes back.
Uh-huh.
It seems everyone's pondered a time machine at some point.
Yeah.
That chance to fix mistakes, relive those golden moments, or maybe even get a sneak peek at what's to come.
Yeah.
You actually shared an article that explores this very idea.
Well, right. Yeah.
Can we really change the past? Talk about a mind bender.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into the science, the philosophy, even the emotions tied up in this whole time travel concept.
Wow.
By the end, I think we'll all have a new perspective on time itself,
Yeah.
even without a DeLorean to help us out.
There's a reason time travel hooks us in.
Mm.
It taps into some deep-seated human desires.
Yeah.
Think about regret, for example.
Uh-huh.
It's a powerful emotion that can make us
Right.
second-guess every decision.
Oh.
Interestingly, the research mentioned in the article points out that we tend to regret
Mm.
missed opportunities even more than actual mistakes.
Wow.
The paths not taken,
It's those what ifs that keep us up at night, isn't it?
Yeah.
The chances we didn't take, the words left unsaid.
Oh, I know.
If we could rewind,
Hmm.
would we actually be happier?
Good question.
Or would we just end up with a whole new set of regrets?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it highlights how time travel is about so much more than just the science.
Right.
It forces us to confront what truly matters.
Mm-hmm.
This reminds me of something you mentioned earlier
Uh-huh.
about wishing you could hear loved ones laugh again.
Oh, yeah.
The bittersweet thing about nostalgia is that it can bring us comfort, but also make the loss feel even more acute.
It's true.
Yeah.
Some moments become even more precious because we know they're finite.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing I can't hear my grandmother's laugh again makes those memories so much more valuable. Oh, yeah.
Would revisiting those moments,
Uh-huh.
knowing they couldn't last,
Right.
make the loss harder to bear?
Hmm.
I wonder if that same logic applies to all those what-ifs.
Mm.
Would those missed opportunities sting even more if we actually had a chance to revisit them?
That's an incredibly insightful question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to the big question.
Uh-huh.
Could we even bend time in the first place?
Okay.
The article digs into some mind-blowing physics,
Hmm.
starting with Einstein's theory of relativity.
Okay.
Einstein showed us that time isn't a constant. It can actually bend and stretch,
Oh, wow.
especially around strong gravitational fields.
Okay, so we're not talking Newtonian physics here.
Yeah.
Time is flexible.
Uh-huh.
Help me understand this. Imagine time as a river,
Okay.
flowing at different speeds depending on the gravity around it.
Okay.
That's what Einstein's relativity tells us.
Wow.
So near a black hole where gravity's immensely strong, time would flow much slower compared to here on Earth.
Wow.
It's called time dilation,
Hmm.
and it's been proven.
Oh, wow.
Astronauts on the International Space Station age slightly slower
Oh, wow.
than us Earthbound folks because they're moving
Okay.
at such high speeds.
So theoretically, if I spent enough time on the International Space Station,
Okay.
I could come back younger than my twin.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Seriously, though, that's wild.
Right.
Does relativity suggest we could actually travel back in time? Or is that more science fiction than science?
Well, relativity doesn't exactly forbid backward time travel,
Okay.
but it does open up the possibility of things like wormholes.
Wormholes.
Think of a wormhole as a tunnel through space-time,
Okay.
a shortcut between 2 points that could be incredibly far apart,
Right.
or even in different times.
Like those visual shortcuts they use in sci-fi movies, right? Where they fold a piece of paper to show how you could travel vast distances in an instant. But how realistic are wormholes, really?
That's the catch.
Okay.
While theoretically possible,
Hmm.
these wormholes would require something called exotic matter to keep them stable.
Exotic matter.
And, well, we've never actually encountered this exotic matter. It remains purely hypothetical.
So no popping over to the Jurassic period for a dino selfie just yet.
Not yet.
But what about quantum mechanics?
Yeah.
The article mentions that too.
Wow.
Where does that fit into the time travel picture?
Quantum mechanics.
Okay.
It takes us even further down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
There's a concept called the many worlds interpretation, which suggests that every decision we make splits reality,
Okay.
creating a parallel universe.
Oh, wow.
In this context, time travel wouldn't be about changing the past,
Mm-hmm.
but about creating a new timeline that branches off from the original.
So if I went back and changed something, it wouldn't impact the me sitting here right now. It just create a new me living out those changes in a whole different reality.
Precisely.
Wow.
You'd essentially be stepping into an alternate dimension where your actions have consequences unique to that timeline. Let me ask you this. Would you still travel to the past if you knew it couldn't change your present life?
Wow.
If it only spawned a new, separate timeline?
That's a fascinating concept to grapple with.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate what-if scenario with no real-world consequences. Almost like a guilt-free do-over.
Yeah.
But would it feel as meaningful?
Good question.
If those actions don't ripple back to the present, do they have the same weight?
You've hit on a crucial point.
Yeah.
Time travel isn't just about the mechanics of getting from one point to another.
Right.
It forces us to confront the philosophical implications. And that brings us to those mind-bending paradoxes.
Okay, let's dive into those paradoxes. The article mentioned the grandfather paradox, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Let's say you travel back in time.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother.
Wow.
This would mean your parent is never born.
Right.
And thus, neither are you.
Okay.
But if you were never born, how could you have traveled back in time in the first place?
So you'd essentially be erasing your own existence.
Right.
But wouldn't that also mean creating a new reality where you never existed? Which reality wins out in that scenario? It feels like a philosophical chicken or the egg problem.
That's the crux of the paradox.
Yeah.
It challenges the very foundation of cause and effect.
Right.
And as if that wasn't enough to ponder, there's another head-scratcher.
Okay.
The bootstrap paradox.
Okay. I'm ready for my brain to be officially scrambled. What's the bootstrap paradox all about?
Imagine a time traveler goes back and gives Shakespeare a complete collection of his own plays. Who actually authored those plays then?
Wow.
It becomes a closed loop where the origin is impossible to pin down.
So are you saying originality is just an illusion? That maybe some of history's greatest works were actually inspired by time travelers? Now that would make for a fascinating alternate history documentary.
It certainly makes you think about where ideas truly come from.
Yeah.
But let's step back from the purely hypothetical for a moment.
Okay.
The article also explores how time travel is portrayed in popular culture. It seems we can't get enough of this concept, even if it remains purely a product of our imaginations.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite examples of time travel in fiction?
Oh, where do I even begin? The Time Machine by H.G. Wells has always stuck with me.
Oh, yeah?
It wasn't just about the adventure. It was about the potential for societal evolution or devolution over time. What about you? What are some of the depictions of time travel that have resonated with you?
Well,
yeah.
The Time Machine is a classic for a reason. It tackles those big questions about progress, decay, and the legacy we leave behind.
Right.
It makes you wonder what aspects of our present world we'd want to preserve for future generations, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What about you? Is there a specific moment, a piece of art, or maybe even just a feeling you'd want to safeguard for eternity?
That's a thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
It really makes you consider what truly matters. And of course, we can't talk about time travel and pop culture without mentioning Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah.
It's the perfect example of how even the smallest changes in the past can have these massive ripple effects on the present. Remember that iconic scene where Marty McFly almost erases himself from existence by interfering with his parents' meeting?
I know, right?
It's both hilarious and terrifying.
Back to the Future masterfully blends humor in those nail-biting what-if scenarios.
Yeah.
It really underscores the delicate balance of cause and effect.
Right.
And speaking of the consequences of messing with time, the Netflix series, Dark, takes a much darker approach.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Oh, Dark is a whole other level of mind-bending.
It is.
It explores how attempts to change the past can actually end up reinforcing it, creating this inescapable loop.
It's a trip.
It's like those times in life when you try so hard to avoid a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
But your actions actually make it worse.
Exactly. Dark serves as a cautionary tale.
Right.
Reminding us that even with the ability to travel through time, we might not have as much control as we think.
Right.
It's a theme that echoes throughout many time travel narratives.
Yeah.
Perhaps these stories, even if fictional, hold a valuable lesson for us.
It's like you said earlier, time travel stories act as a mirror,
right,
reflecting our desires and anxieties about the past and the choices we've made.
Precisely. And those reflections can be pretty intense. It's natural to dwell on past mistakes.
Right.
And wish we could go back and do things differently.
Yeah.
But the article makes a compelling case for acceptance, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It argues that without those past experiences, both the good and the bad, we wouldn't be who we are today.
Oh, yeah.
Our mistakes, as they say, are often our greatest teachers.
They shape our resilience, our empathy, our understanding of the world. Instead of longing for a time machine,
right,
what if we focused on making the most of the present?
Right.
That's where mindfulness comes in. Appreciating the beauty and the possibilities of right now, instead of dwelling on what ifs or if onlys.
It seems like the true power lies not in rewriting the past, but in choosing how we experience this very moment.
That's the ticket.
We may not have time machines, but we do have the ability to shape the future with every decision we make.
Every choice, every interaction,
right,
even the smallest act of kindness can create ripples that extend far beyond ourselves.
Wow.
It's like our own personal butterfly effect.
Right.
Propelling positive energy forward. But speaking of experiencing time in unexpected ways, the article also dives into those everyday occurrences that feel like glimpses of time travel.
Okay.
Even without a DeLorean. What comes to mind for you when you think about experiencing the past and the present?
Well, memory is a powerful tool for revisiting the past, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
When we vividly recall an event, it's almost like being transported back in time. We can feel the emotions, the sensations all over again. I find that particularly true with scents.
Oh, yeah.
Certain smells can instantly unlock a flood of memories. Have you ever experienced that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A familiar scent can transport you back to a specific place in time with an intensity that's almost startling.
Right.
Those sensory experiences
Right.
are like little time capsules embedded in our minds.
Wow.
And in a way, those memories are a form of time travel, allowing us to relive those moments, even if we can't physically go back.
It reminds us that the past isn't lost, but woven into who we are.
Right.
The article also mentions journals and letters as a form of time travel.
Oh, yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's like receiving messages from our past selves.
It's fascinating how those written records can offer such a unique perspective on our own personal journeys.
Yeah.
Reading a journal entry from years ago can feel like having a conversation with a younger version of yourself.
Yeah.
What would you say to your younger self if you could send a message through time?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think I'd tell my younger self to worry less, take more risks, and savor those moments of joy.
Yeah.
But it works both ways, doesn't it?
Right.
What wisdom do you think your future self might offer you right now?
That's an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah.
Perhaps my future self would advise me to focus on the things that truly matter. To let go of the need for control.
Right.
And to embrace the unknown with a sense of curiosity and wonder.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that time travel, in a sense, is about connecting with different versions of ourselves across the timeline.
Yeah.
And on a slightly spookier note, there's also déjà vu.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever had that eerie feeling of, I've been here before? Even though you know you haven't?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those experiences that makes you question the very nature of time and reality.
Right.
Some speculate it's a glitch in our perception, while others believe it could be a subconscious memory surfacing.
Right.
Do you have any theories about what might cause déjà vu?
I've always wondered if it's like a brief overlap between parallel universes. A sort of cosmic collision where our timelines momentarily intersect. It's probably just a quirk of the brain.
Yeah.
But the feeling of predestination it evokes is both fascinating and a little unsettling.
It certainly adds a layer of mystery to our everyday lives. And it speaks to the idea that time may not be as linear or as straightforward as we perceive it to be.
Right.
But while some experiences can feel like glimpses into other dimensions, the article also highlights a more poignant connection between time travel and human emotion. It discusses how the concept often resonates most deeply with those who have experienced loss.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When you've lost someone you love, the longing to go back in time and have one more moment with them can be overwhelming.
I know.
Time travel becomes this fantasy of bridging that gap, even if it's just in our imaginations.
The desire to say the things we didn't get to say, to express our love one last time, is a profoundly human impulse.
Yeah.
But the article also touches on the importance of learning to let go. While the urge to rewrite the past is understandable, acceptance can be a powerful form of healing.
It's like those cautionary tales in time travel fiction, where attempts to change the past often lead to unintended, often tragic consequences. Movies like The Butterfly Effect explore this idea, highlighting the delicate balance of cause and effect.
The butterfly effect serves as a stark reminder that tampering with the past could unravel the very fabric of our lives. Even seemingly insignificant changes can have ripple effects we can't anticipate or control.
It underscores the idea that focusing on how we move forward rather than dwelling on what we can't change might be the wisest course of action. But letting go doesn't mean forgetting. The memories we hold are precious, and in a way, they keep those we've lost alive within us.
Beautifully put. And it brings us to another profound point. Grief, much like time itself, doesn't follow a straight line. It ebbs and flows, pulling us between the past and the present.
It's like we're navigating our own personal time loops, caught in the undertow of memory and emotion. I imagine that's an experience many who've lost loved ones can relate to.
It's a universal experience that speaks to the intricate link between time and the human heart. We carry the past within us, both the joys and the sorrows. And those experiences shape how we navigate the present and the future. But shifting gears a bit, the article also delves into a really thought-provoking question. If we could change the past, would we also be changing ourselves?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does.
If we could erase a mistake, or even a seemingly insignificant choice, would we still be the same person today? Would we possess the same strengths, the same vulnerabilities, same experiences that have shaped our identity?
The article uses the butterfly effect metaphor to illustrate how even small changes to the past could ripple through our lives, impacting our personality, our values, even our entire life trajectory.
Wow.
It's a mind-boggling concept to consider.
Would we even want to erase those defining moments, knowing they've contributed to who we are today? Do we truly love ourselves? Flaws and all. It's a question that goes to the very core of self-acceptance.
It's about embracing the entirety of our journey, even the messy parts. And it ties into another point the article makes. We often romanticize the past, viewing it through rose-tinted glasses. We tend to forget the challenges, the heartbreaks, the complexities that made those times what they were.
It's like we airbrush the past, selectively remembering the highlights and downplaying the less pleasant bits. If we could actually go back, we might be surprised by how different things felt in the moment.
We create this idealized version of the past that may not reflect the full picture. Which is why, perhaps, the most fulfilling path lies in building a future we can be proud of. Rather than dwelling on a potentially distorted version of what was.
It's about making choices that align with who we want to be, rather than fixating on who we were. It's about creating a legacy that reflects our values and aspirations.
And that brings us to another layer of complexity. The ethical dilemmas of time travel. If it were truly possible, it would raise a whole host of moral and philosophical questions.
The article delves into some pretty thorny territory here. It asks, for instance, If you had the power to prevent a historical tragedy,
Right.
would you? And would that be the right thing to do?
Imagine being able to go back and stop the Titanic from sinking. Or prevent a war from breaking out. It sounds noble. But as the article points out, we have to consider the potential unintended consequences.
Oh, yeah.
What if saving one group of people leads to suffering for another?
Right.
What if altering one event sets off a chain reaction that drastically alters the course of history in unforeseen and potentially devastating ways?
It's like playing a high-stakes game of cosmic dominoes.
Yeah.
Where one misplaced tile could topple everything.
Right.
Who are we to decide which events deserve to be rewritten and what gives us the right to potentially alter the destinies of millions?
And that's just one ethical dilemma.
Right.
The article also explores the question of control. If time travel were possible, who would govern it? Who would decide who gets to travel through time? For what purpose?
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine the potential for abuse. If time travel fell into the wrong hands, governments could rewrite history to suit their agendas, corporations could manipulate markets, and individuals could exploit the past for personal gain.
The potential consequences are staggering.
Right.
It raises the question of whether time travel should be considered a tool, a weapon, or perhaps something else entirely. Is it something we should even attempt to control? Or should we respect the natural order of time's flow and the lessons it imparts?
It's a debate that transcends science fiction and delves into the very core of our values and responsibilities.
Yeah.
And even if we could justify intervening in certain events, there's another ethical layer to consider, the potential cost of creating new timelines.
That's where the many worlds interpretation gets particularly complex.
Right.
If every choice spawns a new branch of reality, then changing the past could effectively erase or drastically alter the existence of countless individuals across those diverging timelines.
It begs the question, wouldn't that be akin to playing God?
Yeah.
With the very fabric of existence.
Right.
Who are we to decide which timeline is better and which lives are deemed worthy of continuation?
Yeah.
The ethical weight of those decisions is immense.
It's a humbling realization.
Yeah.
The article seems to suggest that true meaning and fulfillment might not lie in chasing the ability to change the past, but rather in embracing the present and making the most of the time we have.
It's a perspective that encourages us to shift our focus from rewriting what has been to shaping what will be. It's about acknowledging the power of our choices, not to alter the past, but to create a future aligned with our values.
And ultimately, it prompts us to ask ourselves a crucial question. If you had the option to travel through time, would you? Or would you choose to embrace the present moment with all its imperfections and possibilities as the most extraordinary journey of all?
It really is a question that gets to the heart of what it means to be human. Is the allure of changing the past stronger than the potential of living fully in the present?
That's a tough one.
The article seems to suggest that maybe the real adventure lies not in trying to rewrite what's already been written, but in making the most of the story as it unfolds.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that the journey itself is the destination. And while the idea of time travel might spark our imaginations, the article emphasizes that true wisdom lies in embracing the impermanence of time and finding meaning in the here and now.
It makes me think about how the fleeting nature of time gives our experiences a certain weight, a preciousness. If we could live forever or relive our favorite moments endlessly, wouldn't those experiences eventually lose their significance?
Imagine a world where every sunset was identical, where every conversation could be replayed on demand. Would we cherish those experiences in the same way if they weren't unique and fleeting? It's the very fact that time keeps moving forward that makes each moment a gift, a singular event that can never be replicated exactly.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like the saying, you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Maybe the beauty of life lies in its impermanence, in the fact that we have a limited time to experience all that it has to offer.
And that sense of limitation can be a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
It encourages us to savor those special moments, to learn from our missteps, and to appreciate the constant evolution of our lives. Instead of yearning to change the past, maybe the key is to make choices in the present that shape a future we can be proud of.
It's about recognizing that while we can't control what's already happened, we have the power to influence what's to come. It's about shifting our focus from regret to intention, from if only to what if. What legacy do we want to leave behind? What impact do we want to have on the world? These are the questions that guide us forward.
Those questions can help us live with a greater sense of purpose. And perhaps that's where the true power of time travel lies. Not in altering the timeline, but in inspiring us to live more intentionally, more mindfully in the present moment.
We've talked a lot about mindfulness.
We have.
What are some practical ways we can cultivate that awareness of the present moment rather than getting lost in regrets about the past or worries about the future?
There are so many paths to mindfulness, and it's about finding what resonates with you. The article mentions a few simple practices like gratitude journaling. Taking a few minutes each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for can be incredibly powerful.
It's so easy to get caught up in the daily grind that we forget to appreciate the good things, both big and small. It's like we need to train ourselves to pause and notice the beauty, the kindness, the moments of joy that often go unnoticed.
Gratitude is a powerful antidote to regret. By focusing on the positive aspects of our lives, we can shift our perspective and cultivate a deeper appreciation for the journey we're on, even with all its twists and turns. Finding those moments of stillness, those pauses in the day where we can simply be present with ourselves and our surroundings. That's where the magic happens.
It's about recognizing that even though time marches on, the love we've shared, the connections we've made, the lessons we've learned along the way, those things stay with us.
They do.
They become part of our internal landscape, shaping who we are at our core.
That's beautifully said. It's a reminder that the most extraordinary journey we'll ever take is the journey through our own lives, with all its complexities and contradictions.
No DeLoreans or wormholes required. The real adventure is unfolding right here, right now.
It is.
And with that, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the fascinating, perplexing, and ultimately inspiring world of time travel.
It's been an absolute pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise. And a huge thank you to you, our listeners, for joining us on this mind-bending exploration.
It's been fun.
We hope you've gained some new insights into the nature of time, the power of memory, and the profound beauty of embracing the present moment.
And as always, we leave you with a final question to ponder. Would you choose to journey through time if you could? Or is living fully in this moment, with all its challenges and possibilities, the most fulfilling adventure of all?
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
We would.
Until next time. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep embracing the extraordinary journey of being alive.